clips.
Kal Kadosh, Boker Or, Bekiim Halacha 3-day 94.
Okay.
Halacha, this is Siman Kavbet, right? Siman 22, Halacha Dalet. It says, Amkayem mitzvah b'pam harishona b'chayav v'no mevorech alea birkat shechianu. When you're going to be mekayem a mitzvah the first time in your life, you do not make the bracha of shechianu. V'lachen, and therefore, mi shemitatef betalit. If somebody's going to be mitatef in the talit, b'pam harishona b'chayav the first time, en lo levarech, he's not going to make a bracha of ala talit shechianu. Okay, 277. The Rambam ruled that the blessing of shechianu is to be recited when fulfilling a mitzvah that could be performed only once a year. For example, shofar, sukkah lulav, right? Megillah, Chanukiah, all these different things, right? However, though, right, he says on other things, right? He says when fulfilling a mitzvah that's seldom available for one to fulfill, such as a circumcision or a son or pidyon ben. So he says the ruling that one says a bracha upon acquiring whether it's going to be talit and tzitzit is based upon tefillin, is based upon the Tosefta. The Tosafot comes day 94, and he quotes of Shrida Gaon, asserting that the halacha does not concur with its Tosefta. Although it is true that one recites his blessing over the mitzvot of shofar, sukkah, lulav, megillah, and everything else, he says, right, and he also should do it for the tefillin. The Bet Yosef, he brings down Rabbi Yitzchak Avuhav. And Rabbi Yitzchak Avuhav explains that according to the Tur, right, that one must not recite a blessing upon acquiring an item used for a mitzvah. One may make a bracha upon acquiring a new talit. However, since it's no different than acquiring any other new garment, although the Taz rule that one may say the bracha of shechianu upon acquiring a new set of tefillin, that Rav Chida testified that the common custom follows Maran's ruling not to say it. This is likewise the ruling of the Ma'amar Mordechai, the Kavchim Falache, and others as well. This discussion thus far is about saying a bracha for the fact that one is acquired tzitzit or tefillin. The Rokeach introduced another angle to this issue, ruling that it is proper to recite the blessing of shechianu when fulfilling mitzvah for the first time. This is based upon the Gemara's teaching that a kohen, right, who's going to bring a korban mincha in Yerushalayim, says the bracha the first time. Tosfot, however, explained that although kohanim were divided in 24 mishmarot, and every single mishmar did 1 week at a time, and also each mishmar was divided into 6 families, and again, each family served only 1 day of the week other than Shabbat, that it was everybody together. He said that Ashba and the other Achronim concur with the Tosfot's interpretation, and according to this, there's no proof from the Tosefta or the Rokeach, right? So he says, based upon the Tosafot and the Rashba, the Pri Chadash says that we must not follow the ruling of the Ramah to say shechianu upon fulfilling the mitzvah of kisui hadam for the first time. He added that even if one argued that there's no proof against it, we must still refrain from making a bracha. Why? Safek bracha lakel. The Petach Deviv cited also Shlomo Florentin. He ruling that one must not say shechianu upon fulfilling mitzvah for the first time based upon Safek bracha lakel. The Mishabra ruled that one does not make a bracha when donning a talit for the very first time. Okay, that means basically it's not because the first time that you're doing it, you're going to make a bracha. You're going to make a bracha on new talit, but not because it's the first time doing the mitzvah. The Tiferet Moshe suggested that even the Lokeach would agree that one must not say the bracha of shechianu upon the first time. Okay, then he says Rav Yitzchak ben Walid testified that the common custom is to say the bracha of shechianu when putting on tefillin for the very first time. That Rishon LeZion countered that on contrary, right, the minhag is not to do it. So basically, it comes out that it was actually a machloket, right, in the different minhagim. But basically, what he's saying is you do not make a bracha of shechianu the first time you do a mitzvah. Happens all the time. For example, a kala, right? The first time she's going to lalig nerot shel Shabbat, she says shechianu. Again, according to what we just said, we just say no. Okay, halacha hey. If a person puts tzitziot chadashot in a talit that he already had, he doesn't make shechianu, right? Why? Obviously, because the Mishnah the Kavachim bring down that according to the Ram and the Tur, you only say shechianu when you're doing it on a new clothing, not an old one. This is an old clothing and you're putting tzitziot chadashot, so you don't make shechianu. Okay, which makes sense. Halacha vav. Im kama anashim mitatfim yachad betalitot chadashim. Yesh omim shav b'shechad yechol levarech. One person can make bracha. But he says shechianu, everyone does by themselves. And some people say that Rasha yecham mehem leotzi et achrim. Zot omeret kacha. Ani yachol levarech liitatev betzitzit. I can make the bracha for everybody. Can I make the shechianu for everybody? We all have new talitot. We all have new talitot. Can I make the liitatev betzitzit for everybody? So therefore, the first opinion says no. Ata chayav levarech et ze be'atzmecha. No, Sherashai. Yeah, it's the Lachabra brings it down. Let's see, 279. He says like this. The first opinion cited here, right, is he comes and he says like this. The first opinion cited here is the Mishnah Brura, following the opinion of the Pri Megadim. Shlomo Zalman Auerbach pointed out that according to the Rosh Hashanah, when the congregation follows the mitzvah of shofar, the person that's doing it says the bracha of shechianu, and even if he already did the bracha, meaning even if he already fulfilled his mitzvah, This he explained is because the blessing of Shechianu recited on the mitzvah blowing shofar celebrates the joy of the mitzvah. So the entire congregation fulfilled the mitzvah. According to this reasoning, it is likely that if one person is eating a new fig, and another one is eating new grapes, and a third one is eating a new pomegranate, each person should say the berachav shechianu for himself, because each one is doing a different shechianu. Okay, so he says, Rosh Scheinberg also concurred with this reasoning as well, that each one is like a different mitzvah. So the source of this ruling is Rambam. The blessing of shechianu may be said only for a mitzvah that you did by yourself. The Pri Megadim interpreted this to say that a person who performs a mitzvah can say the bracha on his own behalf, but on the behalf of somebody else. Rabbi Moshe HaKohen and the Maran and the Kesef Mishneh, they explained that Rambam meant in order to say a bracha of shechianu on behalf of other people, the person saying it must perform the same mitzvah. Meaning, lefi shitatam, זה צריך להיות אותו מצווה. ואם זה אותו מצווה, זה בסדר. So he comes and he says, in this respect, the blessing of shechianu is like the blessing of food and beverages, right? That we have to, I could make a bracha for you only for eating the same thing. The Bet Yosef, based upon this interpretation, says, right, that if someone already filled the mitzvah of shofar and then wishes to do the shofar again on behalf of somebody else, he shouldn't say the shechianu for others. Likewise, if someone has fulfilled the mitzvah of Megillat Esther, so somebody else should say the bracha of shechianu, not him. Right? This interpretation of the Bet Yosef corresponds to the ruling of the Rabbi Yosef HaKohen in the case of Mishneh, right? That basically that once you've already done that, so that's it, because now you've already done the mitzvah, so now somebody else should do the shechianu for you. Now, what about the poskim? So the poskim say, right, that even if someone has already filled the mitzvah of reading Megillat Esther, he could read it on behalf of other people and he can make the bracha, right? This corresponds to Moran's explanation, right, that in the case where the mitzvah is fulfilled through speech without physical action, right, so therefore you're allowed to. And then again, that means you're allowed to even make the bracha of shechianu as well. The Ma'amar Mordechai then reconsidered, arguing that this interpretation is flawed for several reasons. Therefore, he claimed that Maran meant the Rambam's ruling one can make the bracha of shechianu on behalf of somebody else is only if the person who's performed is not present. In any case, when one performs a mitzvah like reading the Megillah or blowing the shofar, for people that are present or listening to him, he may likewise say shechianu on their behalf. Although the wording of Bet Yosef does not match his interpretation very well, he still said that it is correct. As explained above, the Pri Megadim subscribe to this explanation, right? Again, in the Acharonim, it's not that here he says that the Halacha Brura also brought down, right? That he definitely may say the bracha for shechianu for other people, right? Meaning that there's not going to be. I mean, it's basically the maskana. You could make a shechianu for other people, and then Halacha Zayin just says, Siman Yulchet, sheimorchim et hachupa balayla achar shkia v'chatam yitatev tzit kedei leforsa me'alav shat hachupa. He makes a bracha of shechianu only, and not the bracha of litatef betzitzit.